I think a lot of politicians have it wrong. Have it wrong about jobs going overseas. Um, a lot of jobs have gone overseas, but right now in 2020, in the 21st century, our biggest problem is automation. And the only person, there's only one candidate who actually talked about that, and that was Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang was the only candidate who actually talked about that. No other kind of candidate talked about it. Not Bernie Sanders, not Elizabeth Warren, not Donald Trump, not Weld. No one else talked about it except one candidate, and that was Andrew Yang. And Andrew Yang was the only one addressing the income gap. Well, no, not the only one. Sanders was also addressing that. Those are some real issues. I mean, to sit here and say that, and Mark, thank you for that. Appreciate that, man. To sit here and say that um, it's the whole reason why our economy is collapsing is because the jobs are going overseas. I don't believe that that's the case. Like, that's what's happening is our jobs are being automated. So there's people are not going to believe it until it actually starts happening. Like, what's going to happen is cars are going to become automated. I know this sounds like science fiction, but just look at some of the work that Google, Apple, and Tesla are doing on automated cars. Once they do that, that's going to take one of the biggest job markets, one of the biggest industries and biggest employers are going to be gone, which is truck drivers, Uber, transportation in general. And that's all because of automation. Another big one is going to be retail, things like Amazon. Once Amazon starts automating a lot of this stuff, there's going to be more jobs gone. And as far as there not being enough jobs, it depends on the industry. My industry in IT, we don't have enough people to do the jobs. What's happening now is we are doing 2 or 3 different jobs we're not supposed to be doing. And in the last 10 organizations that I've worked for, because I'm a contractor and I've been jumping around from place to place, right? Until recently I become an employee. But I've been a contractor going from place to place, and each place had this issue of like, we don't have enough people to do the work. And so you're having to wear 10 different hats. We don't have enough people to do the work. We have enough jobs. There's not enough people in the U.S. to do the work. For IT, I can't speak for any other industry. Big Rob says the truck driving jobs will be obsolete. Factories will be automated and will be done with. Berlin says automation is really fine. It cuts out dumb jobs, people who have more challenging creative jobs. Good points. Mark says in 2006 I made $25 an hour. My rent was $1,000 a month, and now I make $16 an hour, and rents have doubled. Not enough pay. People who do not provide goods and services are getting filthy rich. Yeah, I would say like one of the biggest problems that in the U.S. that are not being talked about enough, I don't think, is the income equality gap. The income gap, I should say, the income gap, and because of that, what's happening is it's getting harder and harder to live in the U.S. on one income. I don't know anybody who lives here on one income, like who are not struggling, like struggling poor. I can't think of a single person who has one income who's not struggling poor right now. I can't even think of not even one off the top of my head. Everybody I know has multiple incomes. Either both people in the house work, or they have one person works and then they have a business, or one person works, they have a business, they have drive Uber part-time, or they have a pension, or they have a disability and they have a job and they have, so yeah, I have to agree, like there's something. How do you handle that in capitalism? Like I don't have a solution for it. because obviously capitalism has features that work, but it also has some cons. It has pros and cons, you know? Like, I'm not saying we should do away with it. I'm just saying we need something. It doesn't fix everything. It's not a cure-all. It's not a panacea. We need something else to supplement it because it's just not working entirely. And Berlin, like I hear you, man. And Serge, like I hear you guys, like yeah, it sounds good in Europe, but you may be looking here and saying, damn, they have $1 trillion, multi 115 trillion dollar industry. They don't pay as much taxes as us and stuff like that, but we also don't have medical here. Like it's a problem where a lot of Americans are going bankrupt. So because they can't pay for things like chemotherapy, or they can't pay for, you broke your leg and now you're spending you got a $20,000 bill from Blue Cross Blue Shield or something. Mark Sweeney says automation is a lie told to you by media. Nope, that's not true, Mark, because I'm in an industry that's a large portion of it is being automated. In IT, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of tools that are becoming more and more automated. And the more automation we have, the more things we can actually do. And so what's happening is some of the corporations, they say, well, we got this new tool, you can use this to do this job, and you can use this tool here to do this other job. We don't need another person. You can do these two jobs because you now have automation in these two areas, right? That's one of the things that happens in IT. And like I said, if you look at just hear me out. Forget MSM, forget media, forget all that. Do your own research and try to cut out all of the middleman, all the middle activity. Do your own research on automation in the transportation industry. Just look into it. And you'll see what I mean. Automation has taken a lot of jobs in the last 10 years. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Don't forget about media. Do your own research and you'll see what I mean. You'll see that automation in the last 10 years has taken more jobs than have gone overseas. And if I'm wrong, send me an article. I'm open to facts. Mark says truck driving jobs aren't going anywhere. Factory jobs are not going anywhere. Those robotic machines cost millions. Okay, yeah, Mark, like I said, hear me out, man. Hear me out. Mark Sweeney, what I want you to do, man, is just do your own research on automation and how many jobs it's taken. I think it'll change your mind. It's not being talked about. It's just not. And only one candidate actually brought it up, which is scary. It's scary. It's scary when I'm seeing Congress bring in Facebook, bringing in Apple, and bringing in Amazon and Google, and they're not asking good questions. There are really problems with these companies, and they're not asking. They don't know enough. They don't understand. It's because a lot of them are baby boomers. Really good stuff. Mark Sweeney says they outsource every job they can to China. Serious, but to China, the job they can't outsource, they allow the tidal wave of both legal and illegal immigrants. But more people than jobs, wages go down. I have to disagree. I think that a lot of many manufacturing jobs went overseas, 80s, 90s, but that's mainly because corporate greed. Like if they can pay a person 10 cents an hour in China, Why are they going to pay a guy $15 an hour here? You know what I mean? So a lot of the jobs went overseas, and that was mainly 80s and 90s. Recently, in the last 20 years, what's been happening is automation has been taking a lot of jobs, and it's on track to take many more jobs. Automation. And what I mean is like I'm not saying like robots are going to take 100% of all jobs. What I mean is, here's a good example. Go to Walmart. If you don't believe me, first off, do your own research. But go to Walmart and see how many self-checkouts there are. Have you noticed? Have you noticed that there's more self-checkouts? Those are jobs. Have you noticed? And I don't know if you have it there, but in Walmart, they now have a robot that goes from aisle to aisle. Then it can scan each aisle. As it's scanning, all of the produce, not produce, but mostly cans and like those kind of consumables that are in boxes and stuff like that. It can scan it, and then sends that back to a database, and then they know what's in the inventory, and then they know what to bring out. Have you seen that robot? That's what I'm talking about. It's not eliminating 100% of jobs. It's eliminating automation is taking out a lot of jobs, not 100% of them. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by automation.